Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're doing a tier list for the Honkai Star Rail update Swarm Disaster. We're going to be talking about the different paths that you can pick in the Swarm Disaster. This is an update for the simulated universe, and the content is quite challenging, I would say, especially for players with not so strong accounts, especially on difficulty 5, which is what this tier list is going to be about. And yeah, today you're going to learn what paths you need to pick to be able to clear the dreaded difficulty 5. Before we jump right into it, there's really two key elements here that we have to talk about. The first element is when you pick a path, you're going to be getting a lot of those, types of blessings. That way, you can get the strong activated ability. So, if in a particular path the blessings are quite good, that's going to be a positive point, and if the blessings are quite bad, yeah, it's not going to be so great, right? So that's the first element. But the second element is the game board, which was added in the Swarm Disaster update. Each path is going to have a specific way to manipulate the game board, and also have a stacking bonus that you can get based on the types of rooms you're visiting. So that's also a key element. So let's jump right into it. The first path we have here is the abundance path. Guys, this is going to be D tier for a few reasons. So the abundance path is basically focused on you apply mercy to rooms, which makes it so your countdown, the timer that you have to make it to the boss before he starts getting stacking buffs, is essentially if you do it right, there's no countdown. If you're really applying mercy to key tiles, and making sure that you're rolling, the dice correctly, you're not gonna have a countdown, okay? It turns out that's not that great. It turns out that, really you can make it to the boss, and if you're strong enough, it's okay if the countdown, I would say, is, 4 or 5, and once it starts getting the stacking speed past, -5 on the countdown, it's quite challenging, but, most people are gonna get there within, it's gonna have -3, -4, it's still gonna be completely manageable, so the countdown aspect actually kind of means nothing, so that's already bad. Basically, we have a completely useless, board effect. It is true that, based on the countdown, okay, you're gonna get, more healing done. But the problem is, the damage that the enemies do on difficulty 5 is absolutely, bonkers. And a lot of times you're not going to be able to actually heal through it. You're going to need shields or something. So the incoming healing's not great. So the board effects are bad. And then on top of it, the blessings, sure, the blessings can keep you alive. And there's a lot of strong abundance blessings, especially if you're playing with Luocha, for example, who's basically constantly healing the team. A lot of these blessings, like you get speed when you're healed, you get defense when you're healed. Basically, these are going to be permanent, you're going to have 100% uptime on these. So the blessings are quite good, but there's kind of no reason to stack a lot of them. The damage is going to be quite low as well, unless you get the dewdrop blessings and enhance all of them. So really, guys, abundance, I would say, is probably one of the worst. It's not very good. Going from the worst to probably my personal favorite, destruction is absolutely S tier, guys. Destruction, for your very first, difficulty 5 clear, I would absolutely recommend picking Destruction pretty much no matter what characters you have on your account, because this thing is absolutely crazy. So Destruction blessings are strong. They always have been. They give you damage. They give you survivability. They kind of give you a good mix of everything. They give you effect res, right? The blessing that gives you effect res based on your current HP. I mean, just such a strong, bag of options here for blessings, including the absolutely probably the best blessing in the game, the blessing that makes it so your damage is soaked by your entire team instead of one target, which makes it so one shots are a thing of the past essentially. Enhance gives you a flat 15% DR as well. Crazy blessings on this, guys. And then on top of it, the board effect is absolutely top tier. Okay, you're going to get a stacking damage bonus, just flat damage, for every combat or elite domain that you beat. So you essentially just want to run around fist fighting everything. On top of it, the dice rolls are very strong. They let you turn things into combat domains. They give you beacons. They give you elite domains. The golden roll that lets it so you instantly defeat, an elite domain, lets you, snag elites that are, kind of far away, that, you're not going to be able to path to normally. Super strong. And then on top of it, for every elite you beat, you get double blessings. Guys, elite these are the ones that can roll you 3-star blessings, so you're going to get 2 chances at them for every single elite you beat. It's crazy. On top of the stacking damage bonus, on top of the fact that destruction blessings are so strong, I mean, for me, this is probably the strongest path in the game. Destruction is absolutely crazy. Next up, we have Elation. I'm gonna put Elation in. I'm gonna say it's B tier. Essentially, what Elation does is the effects are completely random. You're gonna get rolls that say, okay, apply a happiness, which is essentially a completely random effect to a domain of your choice, and it's gonna be like an elite domain or a swarm domain or something. Um, and then for every one of these you do, you're also gonna get a random stacking bonus. So it's completely unreliable. But some of the rolls that you can get, some of these happiness rolls are quite strong. For example, the golden destruction roll that lets you instantly clear a combat domain and take its blessing. You can roll that, as one of the random effects that can happen. So there are strong rolls, but a lot of times, it can also completely screw you over as well. It can turn things into domains you don't want, or it can target something that has a enhanced beacon or something that you want and turn it into something without an enhanced beacon. So it's not very reliable. I suppose it's not bad. I would say it's B tier because if you are playing, a team that relies on follow up attacks, something like Jinyuan or Clara. I mean, these are going to be, you're pretty good to get the Elation blessings, right? And even on a team without it, the 3-star blessing that makes it so all ultimates are considered follow up attacks. You can definitely do some things here, but it's quite unreliable. So proceed with caution. But it is very fun. It is very fun. It's kind of just like random bullshit go. So. Next up, we have Hunt. Hunt is also going to be B tier. The big problem with Hunt is that, unlike in regular simulated universe, you actually need survivability. So you can not really just kill everything ASAP. It's the boss at the end is very strong. He's got 3 phases. He's got ads you got to deal with, and if you don't deal with them, they start to CC your team, and it just becomes a disaster very fast. So the blessings are strong, but the incentive to rush them down and get all of the hunt blessings is not so good. On top of it, the board effect essentially is going to spawn trotters, trotter beacons throughout the board that you chase down, and then you're going to get extra rewards from them, and then you get crit damage on every trotter that you kill. It's okay, right? I mean, crit damage is like fine. Depending on the character. If you're playing like Kafka or something, you probably don't even care about that. If you're playing, most carries, it's strong, but it's not, it's nothing amazing. You've got to chase around trotters, which kind of like messes with your pathing anyway. Um, part of the strength is the rolls let you teleport forward through the board, which in theory lets you fight the boss with less buffs, less of the countdown buffs. But again, guys, once your team is strong enough, you're not going to really care about it that much. You're already going to get there in time, so that's kind of mid. So overall, it's mid. It's good. It's not bad, but it's not great. Next up, we have Nihility. Nihility is A tier, and I'll put this disclaimer: if you're playing Kafka, it's absolutely S tier. But it's even A tier if you're playing 0 dot characters on your team. That's how strong this is, guys. It does not matter if you have a single dot character, because the blessings will put dots, and as well as the activated ability will put dots on the enemies for you. The dots do crazy amounts of damage. This suspicion mechanic where enemies are going to take more from dots. You're going to stack this so fast, and the dots are going to absolutely obliterate everything. It's very, very strong. The board mechanic is that you're going to turn domains into blank domains, domains that have nothing in them usually, but because you're playing Nihility, every time you go into a blank domain, it fills the domain with a random type, which is not great. But every time you go through a blank domain, you're going to get stacking dot damage, which if you're already picking up the Nihility blessings, which are already very strong as is, you're going to get even more dot damage. So it's very, very strong. And if you have Kafka, absolutely, like, you're going to have the easiest clear of your life with this thing. It's absolutely crazy. So Nihility, pretty good. I would say give it a shot, even if you don't have any dot characters. It's just that good. Next up, we have Preservation. Preservation is absolutely also S tier. I guess with the small exception of if you have no shielding characters on your account, but even just with fire main character, it's absolutely crazy. You got to be running a shielder, that's true, but Preservation is going to be able to keep you alive. The blessings keep you alive. The difference between Preservation and Abundance is that Preservation actually has some pretty okay blessings to help with your damage. Things like shielded characters gain crit rate, crit damage. The 3-star blessings give you Quake, which is, it's not amazing damage, but it's pretty okay. But the stronger part of this, guys, is the board effect. The main mechanic of Preservation is called Cornerstone, where essentially you're going to lock domains in place so that way they do not collapse when you move past them on the board. And then when you make it to the boss, you're going to get a random blessing for each type of room that's in Cornerstone effect. So, let's say you've got a combat, a transaction, and a reward in Cornerstone. You're going to get 3 random blessings. So that's very strong. There's a dice roll that gives you Cosmic Fragments, the currency, for each room you have in Cornerstone. That's very strong. So the board effect is very, very strong. And when you fight the boss, you also are going to get increased shield effect for each room in Cornerstone. Um, And the activated ability of Preservation, the giant AoE nuke, actually does damage based on your shield effect, the max shields that you can make. So that, it's going to increase the damage of that as well. It's very, very strong, but mostly the cornerstone effect just giving you tons of blessings. At the end when you get to the boss, you've got, 6 different types of rooms. Okay, you're going to get 6 types of blessings, 6 random blessings that, well, not random, you can roll them. So they're not entirely random. But yeah, so it's a very strong mechanic. It's very strong. The board effect is good. The blessings are good. The one downside I would say is you can't take only preservation blessings. You probably won't have enough damage. But you can just pick up the really strong ones that give buffs to shielded characters, or the things that at the end of the turn it gives a really strong shield. If you just look out for the good ones, these are quite good. And then you combine them with some other type of damage blessing, whether it's hunt blessings, destruction, propagation, stuff like that. Yeah, and you're gonna have a pretty good time. Next up, we have Propagation. Propagation is going to be in C tier, pretty surprisingly. I know what you're thinking, but I have Imbibitor Lunae, and Imbibitor Lunae is absolutely crazy with Propagation blessings. It's like they were made for him. So why would I not want to go the Propagation path? The problem is that, well, there's a few problems. The first problem is that the board effect is not that good. So essentially, you're going to get stacking basic attack damage for every swarm tile that you go through. And at the start of phases 1 and 2, you're going to create 2 swarm tiles. So yeah, sure, you're going to get basic attack damage from that, and you're going to go into the rooms, and you're going to get the propagation blessings, and it's going to make your Imbibitor Lunae or your Blade, or I think those are the main 2 that really love these, and you're going to get really strong, right? The problem is, one, it's just not really as good as some other paths, guys. Like the survivability, this gives you 0 survivability. Essentially, this falls into the same problem that Hunt has. That picking up some of these blessings, if you're playing Imbibitor Lunae, for example, picking up some propagation blessings is good because it adds a lot of damage. But there's really no incentive to rush down and pick all the propagation blessings. It doesn't make much sense. That's the first problem. The second problem is that the golden dice roll, I would say, is actually actively bad. So the way the golden roll works for propagation is it lets you instantly skip to the boss, um, and you get a random propagation blessing for each swarm room on the floor. So imagine you're at the start of floor 2, right? And you instantly roll golden roll, and you skip to the boss straight away, and there was 5 swarm blessings. You get 5. There's 5 swarm tiles even. You get 5 propagation blessings. Wow, that's so strong, right? Well, it turns out it's not that strong because the blessings are completely random. So you could get the ones that are, not that good in the first place, right? Unlike if you would actually do the rooms manually, and you'd be able to re-roll the blessings and pick the ones you want. And as well, as we mentioned, it's the same thing over and over again. It's a really common theme. Skipping rooms and making it so the countdown is high when you get to the final boss is just not that good. If you just play a different path, and you I just have a really, really strong team, you are not going to care in the slightest that the boss takes 12% less damage because the countdown's at -4. You just don't care. So skipping ahead is not even that good. I would say propagation blessings obviously on these characters are very strong, but the path itself is not that good. The activated ability is it's pretty okay. It's not bad, but it is, at the end of the day, it is just damage. It's the same thing as Hunt. It's just adding damage, and with Swarm Disaster, you need survivability as well. Really common trend you can see on the better paths. They normally offer some type of survivability. So yeah, there's that. And last but not least, but pretty close to least, Remembrance. Yeah, Remembrance is it's definitely doable. And you can cheese the final boss with infinite freeze. It's and yeah, the large damage that comes from the 3-star Remembrance blessings. On freeze, the dissociation stuff. Sure, sure, but the board effect is quite awful. You're going to be copying domains essentially, so you can take domains and then copy them, and then each time you go through copied domains, you're going to get stacking effect hit rating. Um, Okay, yeah, I get the idea, right? So you copy a bunch of domains, you copy a bunch of really good domains, even reward domains, adventure domains. Oh my god, I'm doing nothing but adventure domains, and then I have all this effect hit rating stacked, and then I go to the boss, and he can't resist any of my freezes, so I just freeze him over and over again. Um, yeah, it turns out it's just not that good because, yeah, I mean, what are you copying, right? If you copy only reward domains, that's okay, but you're not going to have really, that many blessings, I guess, right? Because you're not really going to combat rooms or elite rooms, so you're not going to be able to pick a lot of these blessings. So you can have all the effective rating in the world if you don't have the right remembrance blessings, it doesn't matter. As well, this is not World 7, I would say, in normal simulated universe where you can just freeze the deer over and over again and then you're fine. Like the final boss has a lot more mechanics, especially when you get to phase 2 and 3. He's going to be spawning the exploding bugs that will CC your team if you let them go off. In phase 3, you have to deal with the two bosses, so if one of them doesn't get frozen, I mean, it's just not that good. Like, sure, it's doable, but it's going to be a lot less consistent, and you have to really copy, rooms that you think you need. Not just, I think if you spend the whole time doing, reward domains, it's not going to be as good as you think. Um, and sure, if you're going to copy elite rooms or something, just play destruction, right? Just play the path that's actually meant to just get as many blessings as possible and just fight everything and then stack a bunch of damage on top. So, yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Okay, guys, there you have it. That is the past tier list. So I would say 100%. If you're going for your first clear of difficulty 5, I would say probably pick destruction, or preservation. Preservation can be good, especially if you got like Japard or something. That's quite good. And then if you have Kafka, Nihility, these would be the top 3 that I recommend. So yeah, hope you guys learned something. Hope you're gonna be able to clear difficulty 5 now. And yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.